few observations and comments. I'm going to turn it over to Len. He's going to talk a little bit, and then he's going to turn it back over to me, and then I'll turn it back over to Len, and then we'll finally get to hear from Frank, which is the reason you're here. A couple observations, clarifications, and so on. I just learned in the hallway, I didn't know about this, I thought I would share it with everybody, but actually at the University of South Australia, they just started the Bass Ehrenberg Institute. I guess it was formally announced, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yes, it's the Bass Ehrenberg Institute for Empirical General, not for Marketing Science, my apologies. And it has only just moved through the university system, formally announced probably a week or two ago.
Oh, congratulations, that's great.
Let me ask a question. It's the Bass Ehrenberg rather than the Ehrenberg Bass?
Dr. Bass, I was hoping you wouldn't be asking me that question. Much to my, in this forum, much to my embarrassment, although there's no preference, it is referred to as the Ehrenberg Bass.
Oh, that's fine.
Yep.
In this room, it's the Bass Ehrenberg. It's the Bass Ehrenberg Institute. Also, some of you know Peter Lieflang, right here, holds a chair that now is in Bass's name. It's a special honor to Frank. It was named after Frank. It's a one-time thing, is that right?
That will be announced officially at the occasion of opening the academic year. That's in September, but you have some premature information.
All right. I hopefully it was all right to announce it here. I mean, this is it'll be in the paper tomorrow. I'd also like to mention David was talking about the P&G jet. Is that right? Flying in.
Actually, Mike was.
Oh, Mike was talking about the P&G jet flying in and stuff. There was another jet that frequently visited the airport. It was Hugh Hefner's plane, right? Because that's where he kept the Playboy jet. So that was the kind of second thrill that we got.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it. Well, what can you say about West Lafayette? At least you UTD people were in a real city. It's also kind of interesting that when Peter presented the top 20 list, that 5 of the top 10 papers were single-authored papers, and actually 5 of the top 7 papers, citation-wise, were single-authored papers. So I don't know if you just kept the good ideas to yourself, or if we just weren't bright enough with our own ideas of what the hell went on there. But that was an observation, and the number 2 paper was actually a paper that was with Vijay and Eton. And I think it had about, what, 300 and something sites? But, what was it?
243.
243. But, Albert mentioned this, that, if you look deeply in that, about 210 were VJ self-sites. So the reality it really doesn't get up there very high. So, but it really is appropriate in some ways to be here today. Coincidentally, as many of you know, today's Father's Day as well as Albert's birthday. So I think it's kind of, sentimental in some ways to be here with our academic father here. And in some ways, too, I'm reflecting back on the last half a day and a half or whatever it's been, there's a different Bass model that I think has pertained to a lot of us, and that's Frank's thought and philosophy about his students. And the reality is, one of the greatest things about his shop is the fact that we were all students in cohort groups. We had great people around us that pushed us in our seminars and pushed us in our interactions. And Frank was the one that made all of that happen. But I think we all had to look around the room and kind of thank one another as well in terms of what our classmates did for us. And in that spirit, Len's going to talk a little bit about students that work with Frank.
One of the things that really struck me the past 2 days is the sort of memories of flooded back being, for all practical purposes, the senior son, although only the second Ph.D., but really the one who was in the profession, is the impact of the Bass network and the number of people at various times I've interacted with, or through them or through Frank, meet other people, just looking around. graduated, I taught regression one summer, and Jim Ginter was in that class. I, at one point, was at the Catholic University of Leuven as a visitor, and because of that, Daniel Jensen's went to Purdue to study under Frank. I've worked a lot with Mike Hanson's, and through him, and back to Marnie, back to the Catholic University of Leuven. Albert, anytime I want a trip to Paris, I said, isn't it time for you to invite me for a talk? He's still waiting for one talk when I got on the wrong train at Paris Nord, but that's okay. And he's been very generous. I've been a visiting scholar at MIT, do a lot to Bass's influence, and John Little, and Gary Lillian, and Glenn Urban, and Al Silk were all there at the time, and it sort of just explodes, and it's sort of like anywhere I go, there is a Bass student. If I need something, not far away is a Bass student. And so that there is this Bass, true Bass family that's out there. I'm going to make some more remarks later, but what I wanted to do now is perhaps, I guess first, try to show the impact in a different way. I've been trying to collect pictures of the Bass students. Some people in this audience still owe me either a picture or certainly, hopefully, a better picture. A few people have politely refused to give me a picture, like Al Wilt. I'm only assuming that he has had some kind of Michael Jackson treatment to reveal what he looks like these days. And a few people we haven't tracked down. So hopefully later, maybe some of you will help me, as time goes on, track down the people we haven't found, and hopefully there'll be some more pressure here. I think people know how many Bass students and some of the big names of Bass students, but I really just want to take a couple minutes and then just go through the pictures and names of these people. You may want to look in your program for the day today toward the back. There's a list of Bass students and some of their information. Lonsdale was the first, and then it went downhill a little before bouncing back. Regrettably, Wayne is deceased.
Unfortunately, I'm not.
But he has his time. This was a mug shot for Neil Beckwith. Clark is retired. Wilk is retired. Guffus was going to give me a picture, but he had trouble getting back to the United States in time to send it to me. He is a student who was held up as a potential CIA agent in Haiti. Now I'm starting to think that, in fact, maybe he was a CIA agent. So that is an incredible output in itself. And did you remember most of those people?
Absolutely.
And what we've tried to do to help you remember, and I don't think Frank himself even really fully comprehends the impact that his students have had on the profession. What we've done is we've put a binder together for the students who Frank either chaired or co-chaired the dissertation, with each one having a separate page, having a brief bio sketch, so that you can see, in fact, all the accomplishments of your students.
Thank you.
For those people who are students, we have a binder. For other people, because it's unlikely to keep them, we've just made black and white versions. So I thought I'd pass some of these around. And if you're not a Bass student, you can just take a black and white version here and look over it on the plane, and then you can
I told about him. So.
drop it off or not. If you're a Bass student, If you'll just hold up your hand, I'll hand it out.
Pick it up later, yeah. And all of this, we'll be putting together a CD for everyone with the photographs that you saw scrolling across the screen that were taken last night. The pre should be yellowed and crinkled or something. But kind of rough calculations is easily 750 students, grand students, great-grand students, and great-great-grand students are out there, which is pretty impressive. And I'll get you the accurate number at some point in time. But, you know, Mike talked about the fact that he was on stage with one of his students and one of his students' students. It actually goes a little bit deeper than that. Mike chaired Marnick's dissertation. Marnick chaired Katrina's dissertation, who has a student now, Francesca, that's finishing up right. So we actually have kind of 5 deep in many situations. If I look at the information I have, and I don't have it for many of the more junior people who didn't respond yet, I think Don leads the pack with 26 dissertations chaired, Don Lehman. Dick was right behind him with 21 dissertations chaired, so quite an accomplishment. If you counted up there, to be accurate, Frank actually chaired 56 dissertations. And again, those students produced this 750 plus. But I think it is, when you say Bass students, it's not just the students that he chaired the dissertations of, that he has had an impact on a lot of individuals. Frank actually said it last night that in my class there were 2 students that worked with Dan Shandell, Carolyn Wu, and Cynthia Montgomery, and I think the way he put it quite simply is he made their careers. They took the Bass basement course, they took the modeling, the multivariate course, and basically learned how to do empirical research in the strategy area, and basically did very well. Vicente Salas was another student who's done very well in his area. So we will put this together basically in Roman numeral format with the students of the students, and so on. And again, this will be posted on the web and also distributed on the CD. So look forward to getting that and actually seeing the breadth of the impact that you've had. All right? So thank you.